You're in the Business Insurance Zone with me, Steve Savant, syndicated financial columnist and contributing author to Backroom Technician. This week on The Biz, the monthly update series for May 2013. And on today's show, the Financial Industry Update with national columnist, certified financial planner, and CPA, Ken Davis.
When it comes to life insurance, annuities, long-term care, disability, or group pension plans, we're the news you can use.
Well, welcome everyone to the Business Insurance Zone. Of course, I'm Steve Savant, your host, and we're broadcasting to a nationwide audience of financial advisors right here in Fountain Hills, Arizona, home of America's largest fountain. And with me today, your CPA, and of course my special friend and study group guy, Ken Davis.
Stephen, good to see you.
Well, welcome, Ken. Of course, you know, Ken has been on for the last couple of weeks when we were doing taxes in April. It was just, we did our normal 1040 show, and then we really broke it out in truth and taxation. I have to say, I had about maybe 24 tweets on truth in taxation, and 2 of them went viral.
Really?
Because people were picking up on this. Man, this is a great line of yours. And by the way, Ken, kudos to him. He carved that out. Truth in taxation, he's getting no royalties, though. So sorry about that, Ken.
Darn.
Ken, let's talk about today. You know, we were talking about some of the things today, and I'm looking at these articles that are out there, and I have to say, sometimes politics just gives us wonderful fodder for the financial industry update. But check out this line. I mean, this is really something. The president wants to limit to $3 million our ability to accumulate money for retirement because he thinks that's just good enough. Now, Ken, I'm sorry, but I can't believe he's actually trying to pull this off.
You know, first of all, sometimes we tend to get a little political and stuff, and I'm at a point now that goes along with this truth and taxation where my goal and desire is just to get out there the facts as it is and let the viewers make their own decisions. And I don't care whether it's Republican or Democrat or whatever, because we can look historically and look at both parties have contributed to the mess that we call our Internal Revenue Code. So I hope people understand that you know, if they agree with this stuff, great, they can support it. If they don't, they can take it off and have their say about it. But $3 million on savings, and again, we've beaten this horse a lot, but this whole idea of inflation-adjusted numbers, I'm really concerned when they put a flat number on things and they don't inflation-adjust it. Because $3 million today, 20 years from now, would be $1.5 million. And I can tell you that $1.5 million, I mean, you get 0.5%, you know, in CDs, let's say it's 1.5%, that's $15,000 a year. People can't live on that. There might have been a time when people felt comfortable being in the stock market and thinking they're going to get 8 and 10% returns. You know, at 10%, $3 million is $300,000 a year. At 1%, it's $30,000 a year. So I'm not sure where the number comes from, and I'm really concerned that what starts as what appears to be a very large number to a lot of people ends up being a lot smaller number and really has a major impact on the middle class at some point in time.
Well, I hate to say this, but I doubt very much that anybody is an actuary that's giving advice to the president, and on top of that, we're going to be living longer. $3 million, even in today's money. If you see the average female off a married couple, think about it. She's going to be into any healthy gal's going to be into her early 100s, late 90s now. We're looking at numbers like this. So, I mean, I don't understand how they think that this money is going to make it. But just the whole issue of capping it. Well, I wish I could get into this whole thing, Ken, but we got to go on. Ken, I noticed employer-sponsored retirement hit, think about this, $11 trillion now. No wonder they want to cap it and take that money.
Well, and what's scary about that, they've actually, my understanding of what I'm reading is they've actually had some hearings on Capitol Hill a number of years ago that was talking about converting qualified plans into the Social Security system or something like it. And I think that it's this massive target, and they're looking at these huge deficits they have. They're looking at the problems created by the baby boom generation, making major demands on social services. And I can certainly understand their concern. There's different ways to solve that problem. I'm concerned, and I don't have any inside scoop or anything. This is just pure conjecture on my part. Are they going to go in and attack our qualified plans? Are they going to justify taking that and saying, gee, this is how we're going to solve the problem. You've got too much money and we're going to take care of everybody.
I think that is a on-the-table discussion, hopefully, that we'll be able to, with our representatives, right? Hopefully we do have representation, taxation by representation. Hope that's true. I'm thinking about all this is happening as we're getting closer and closer to the Obamacare launch. Now everybody's going to be signing up October 1. It's going to be fully implemented, they say, by 2014. I've been commenting on this all over the nets. You say, Steve, I'd like to see some of the articles you've commented on. Happy to do so, kept it all. What we're doing now is, all in the background, we're looking at small business, which is really concerned about reform. There's so much going out there right now. We have companies that are reconfiguring their entities, trying to get under the 50 employee issue. There's people saying the penalty's cheaper than the premium, might as well pay that.
Right.
We have all kinds of gamesmanship going on right now as small business gets ready to respond to this. And I just saw the Milliman report. I don't know if that's on my sheet today, but I just saw the Milliman report that actually said, hey, there's going to be an increase now in Obamacare. Now I got actuaries looking at this saying, hey, we got issues. But speak to the issue of business, because they really are, the small business is really in the crosshairs of this.
Well, you know, sometimes I wonder about the naivete of Congress. They have this belief that they can put these 2,700-page laws in place or various types of things and think that, you know, businesses and other individuals aren't going to respond to them. They're not going to find strategic ways around the system. And they keep, you know, they put them out there, they see what the response is from the private sector who, you know, understandably wants to protect themselves from these higher costs. They make adjustments, and then the laws change, and this, you know, back and forth. And ultimately, if I think they get frustrated and say, well, we really have to lower the boom. Well, there's a point at which people won't accept the lowering of the boom and they'll go elsewhere.
Ken and I wrote an article about marginal tax brackets. It's getting quite the little play on the web. If you go ahead and go out to thebiz.tv and say, Steve, I want that article is so huge, it will help you with Social Security, taxation, and planning. We wrote it for the regular guy in the street. We're enthused about it. We've been getting a lot of traffic, and we want you to have the ability to use it. When we come back from the break, we're going to continue our monthly financial industry update for May 2013 with Ken Davis. And don't forget to enroll in IULUniversity.com for the best training, education, and sales support when it comes to life insurance for retirement income.
You're listening to the insurance industry's #1 resource for products, planning ideas, carrier information, and interviews you can use. When it comes to life insurance, annuities, long-term care, disability, or group pension plans, we're the news you can use.
Did you know the average 401k runs out of money just 7 to 8 years into retirement? Time Magazine, the Wall Street Journal, and many other publications have warned of the difficulty of saving with a 401k. But what if there was a way to create tax-free lifetime retirement income with no stock market risk? Good news, there is.
You know, living in fear of the next market dive is not the way I want to live my life.
Why would I go out there and take on risk when I don't need to?
I have a lot less stress knowing I can't lose any more of my retirement savings in the stock market.
Call now to receive your free, no-obligation analysis of what this retirement vehicle could do for you, a comparison to your current retirement plan, and a free video that explains this exciting opportunity. Start planning a retirement you can enjoy instead of worrying about future tax increases and stock market losses. Creating income that will last your entire life is the most important thing you'll ever do. Take control of your future. Call now for your free analysis, comparison, and video.
Well, welcome back to the Business Insurance Zone. I'm Steve Savant with Ken Davis. And remember, you can order today's material at thebiz.tv. And while you're out there, click on the Backroom Technician icon for a 30-day free trial offer to access the best needs analysis and client education material that can address almost every financial planning scenario. And when you get out there and you click on it, I think you're going to be really impressed because it's out on the Biz blog of our site, and it'll really help you in your practice. I've been using it for 22 years. Hey, and just a heads up, before going forward with any of the ideas you ever hear on our show, always consult your tax advisor and your legal counsel, as well as your broker-dealer compliance officer if you're FINRA licensed. We're in the middle of our financial industry update for May 2013. And Ken, I'm looking at, think about this, and I don't see how they cannot correlate this. The title of the article is, Older Americans Worry About Health More Than Money.
Pretty interesting, isn't it?
I mean, haven't they put the two together?
Well, maybe not. You know, health comes first in our minds, I think, more than anything else, and that's why, you know, doctors in the medical field has been so revered, because we're so dependent on those people taking care of us. And I think second is money, and the two go hand in hand. You know, without money, the rest of it doesn't work.
Well, I saw a stat from people who are living quite long. They took their extended healthcare needs through their entire geriatric life, measured those numbers, and somebody came up that there's an average premium and actual cost to the either government through Medicaid or Medicare, whatever, that cost was about $250,000 per couple.
Wow.
During retirement. That's a chunk of change.
Well, and what's interesting is, and I've had some discussions, as I'm doing some of these Social Security election strategy calculations with the hundreds of calcs, and I'm sitting down with people, they're showing me, some of them that have already elected their Social Security, and they're showing the gross number they're getting and then the Medicare costs that are coming off. Well, those Medicare costs are going up. And I wonder if at some point in time we might find that our cost of Medicare equals what our Social Security payouts are.
Well, wouldn't that be a balance sheet equalization method by the government to make sure that, hey, whatever we're getting in on our Social Security is going out on our Medicare?
Could be. I don't know. I'm not saying, I'm not predicting it. I'm not saying it, but I'm just saying we see a trend that the chunk of money going for Medicare gets higher and higher, and as there's more and more burden of our age group on that system, it is going to get more expensive. It has to come from somewhere.
If that becomes true, Ken, kudos to you. And if it doesn't become true, he said it, I didn't.
It's not a prediction, Steve. It's simply an observation of what's been happening.
Well, here's another article, and this was a psychobabble. And we had Dr. Jack Singer on here. You know, he talks about the behavioralist of people with their money. And I read an article called "1/3 of Americans are worried about their finances on a daily basis." Now think about that. I didn't say at tax time. I didn't say after Christmas when the credit card bills are, you know, they rang up this huge number. I'm talking about 1/3 of Americans are concerned about their money on a daily basis.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, people that aren't retired are worried about their bills and where the cash is going to come from, and then we get automobile repair bills and air conditioning bills and stuff. I was out in Sun City, Arizona, and I'm sitting at a McDonald's having a coffee in between meetings, and I saw 4 older gentlemen sitting in the corner. And what are they talking about? They're talking about finances. I mean, and you go anywhere in those types of places, that's what's on their mind, is their money and what to do with it. And when we go through scares like 2008, 2009, you know, it riles everybody up and they get concerned. I mean, these people don't have the ability to make additional income, so they're dependent on what they already have to serve them. And it's very scary for them, so no wonder there's worry about it.
Well, when you think about if we have 1/3 of all Americans, seniors, baby boomers coming into their retirement, we have the millennial generation. Everybody's concerned about it and they're looking for help. If you have an advisory practice, you'll be so surprised. Maybe everybody needs to start camping out at McDonald's, you know, in these geriatric zones like Sun City, you know, and some of the places in Florida, because these are the places where people are having great discussions about real life problems, challenges in their senior years, but we're having people having challenges just finding a job still. I mean, our unemployment rate is still pretty large, and we're trying to move to a whole new well. And you know, our spending is going to have to come down. We have to move from a consumer kind of mentality to some kind of a saving mentality.
You know, I had a really interesting experience last week. I'm on a finance committee for a senior living type of center where they have all levels of care. And it was really interesting. One of the gentlemen, and there's some pretty amazing people on there that had terrific careers and are very bright and capable folks. He just flat out and came out and said, I've been working with money for years, and he says, I've come to the conclusion there are no experts. And you know, that's the state of the art of what's happening in our profession. And I think too often our clients believe, whether we support it or not, that we have a crystal ball of when the markets top and when they bottom. The fact of the matter is there's only 2 things we can do to help them. One is to help control risk through diversification strategies, insurance, annuities, stuff like that. The other one is to reduce taxation. Those are the 2 things that, if done correctly, can have a very large impact on wealth creation.
Well, think about the taxes. I mean, there's an article I just read called "Advisors Are Optimistic About Post-Fiscal Fiscal Cliff Environment." Do you think you think we're going that way?
Well, of course they're optimistic. All of these terrible laws that are taxing us to death are perfect for us, because clients now have to come to us and find strategies to avoid all this taxation, and they have to find solutions for these issues and risks that they're facing in the future. I mean, that's a primary concern of what we do, is risk analysis and control. So tax laws and risk, I mean, it's right up our alley.
I was reading an article. I just read this stuff it's good toilet seat fodder, right? Geez. I'm reading these articles, and here's one I saw called "More Than Half the British Pre-Retirees Haven't Saved for Retirement." Well, that's because they have a nanny state. They told them they're going to pay for everything. And why is that article in the U.S. insurance press? I have no idea. Well, that's our show for today. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, or email me at steve@thebiz. Well, that's the Buzz on the Biz for today. You've been in the zone, the Business Insurance Zone.
You're listening to the insurance industry's #1 resource for products, planning ideas, carrier information, and interviews you can use. When it comes to life insurance, annuities, long-term care, disability, or group pension plans, we're the news you can use.